So, welcome you all to our collective calls that we hold on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Today's Thursday, and I'm happy to announce our next two speakers in line to share the pitch deck, to answer the Q&A. So the usual drill. Hosting today's meeting, myself, Ivan, and about two exciting projects. Let me share and disclose the info. So first of all, we got a project called Fija Finance representing David, and also Zippychain founder is here to tell us about his project, Todd.
Yeah, hi everyone. Actually, it's Michael. It's not David, but that's not a big deal. Not a big deal. Don't worry
I'm
about
sorry
it.
because I got
Can everyone hear me? Can you guys hear me? And
yeah, totally, Michael. Please go ahead. Thank you
okay,
for
let me
correcting
share
me.
my screen.
Maybe I got the wrong info, but yeah.
So, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. I want to talk about Fija Finance, which is the new way to earn on your crypto. And what we offer is a compliant crypto earn product without counterparty risk. Basically, what we realized is that people want to earn on their crypto. And as we are a European-based company currently focused on Europe, we first looked at who wants to earn on their crypto in Europe, and we realized that 30 million Europeans at least hold crypto. 88% of those would like to earn interest on their holdings, yet only around 4% actually utilize DeFi, decentralized finance, for that. And the reason is that it's still way too hard. DeFi is complicated to use. Previous solutions failed, mostly because they were akin to black boxes where you didn't know what was actually happening with your funds, and unregulated. And another issue is that staking only offers quite limited performance, especially nowadays. This led us to come up with a solution, namely the Fija yield-bearing token family. So what we actually did was, and the challenge I just described basically, but as I'm sure many on the call know, customers expect you to offer a yield product, but the problem is the existing yield products for crypto carry counterparty risk for customers and for you. And you have the issue of missing revenues, because while assets under management incur costs, you only make a profit when customers trade. So what is the solution now? What did we do? We developed what we call compliant and automated yield tokens. We, together with our experts, both in-house and some external crypto researchers, develop DeFi yield strategies. Go ahead then, tokenize those strategies. You, via your own platform, for example, your exchange, your brokerage, you offer those Fija tokens, and your customers could be ordinary retail customers, could also be institutional clients, depends a lot on the setup. They swap their existing crypto holdings for the Fija token, and they can earn while they hold the Fija token. And the great thing about this is it really maximizes the value for you and for your customers. So you have no complex processes. Your customers simply just buy, hold, and watch their portfolio grow. Every Fija token represents an on-chain yield strategy that is immutable. So there are no backdoors for manipulation. We cannot make it look like the performance is better than it actually is. And you can actually save costs with what you can call an out-of-the-box integration. So you can leverage your existing token listing process or existing swap function. And I will quickly describe how it actually looks, how we actually do it, because I can see that I'm slowly running out of time. So as I said, we develop a DeFi strategy, we test it, we go ahead and pre-mint a certain number of tokens. The exchange, in this example, it would be a centralized exchange, lists these tokens in their earn or yield category, and provides the swap function. Usually this is quite easy to integrate if there's an existing swap function, which for many exchanges exists. We provide the liquidity for the token and the designated trading pair. We ensure that it's always bought and sold at a given price. The accumulated yields are automatically reinvested via the smart contracts, and this in turn leads to an increase in the price of the token. So instead of having to issue additional tokens that the token holders, feature token holders, earn on top of what they hold already, their token actually increases in value over time. Users can, as I previously said, just come, swap blue chip coins with feature yield tokens, have immediate withdrawal possibilities, no lockups, and that's basically it. The process is quite simple. So if you like, get in touch and choose the crypto yield solution for your earn product.
Sorry for that. Expecting your questions as we are rolling to Q&A section now. And yeah, as I see now, we got plenty of questions in the chat already. So let me read them real quick. So with all these regulatory hoops, how does Fija makes it easy for exchanges to offer yield products without turning into a legal headache?
That's actually not that difficult to answer. We initially developed these strategies, and I purposely left that out because this tends to confuse people a little bit and overcomplicate things. But we initially offered this as a security token. So what I just described, the tokens, they're actually utility tokens, essentially access tokens, right? That give you access to the funds and to the yields. Initially, we developed the same thing in the form of a security token, which still actually exists, which is offered to regulated entities like hedge funds, asset managers in the European Union. So we're fully regulated in the European Union. I didn't mention it before, headquartered in Germany. We have an entity in the Czech Republic through which we have a WASP license, and another entity in Liechtenstein. And so we can basically ensure that everything is above board and there are no legal headaches.
I see. Thank you for answering the first question. We got some more. What's your secret sauce for ensuring both everyday users and big name platforms actually adopt Fija tokens in their earn sections? A great pitch, by the way.
Thank you for the compliment. Well, the secret sauce is basically we offer something that makes DeFi truly accessible in a transparent, compliant, and secure manner. And in addition to that, we offer yields that are more than appealing to both retail users and institutional clients. So basically, these different characteristics of our product or of our service, depending on how you want to define it, those make up the secret sauce, which we are convinced will get a lot of people to adopt our service or to use what we do.
Thanks. Hopefully that answered the question. Third one goes like this. You're embedding DeFi yields into tokens like Fija BTC. How do you keep that transparent and compliant so people actually trust it?
This is also quite straightforward. So all of our strategies are 100% on-chain and fully automated via smart contracts. So we develop and program the smart contracts in-house, and we actually share everything. We share the strategy address, the vault address. We give people the possibility to actually go and check, what's happening on the level of the blockchain. And we basically we're as transparent as you can be, so people can actually go and look. Okay, is there what's happening? Are there funds in the vault contract, in the vault address, or via the vault address? They can check if there are funds. That's what I wanted to say. And we also regularly have audits, which we publish. Audits by external parties. So in this regard, we try to ensure that we share as much information as we can so that people can go and check for themselves. And as I said before, we are fully licensed. We have a virtual asset service provider license. We're in the process of getting a MiCA license via the Czech entity that has the WASP license. We are operating in a highly regulated or in numerous highly regulated jurisdictions. but especially, with our headquarters in Germany, we of course have to be compliant there. So these are basically those things that we think make us actually extremely trustworthy, but without people having to rely on our word, right? They can check everything, check all the entries, all the registry entries, check even the information on the blockchain.
I see. Thanks. Guys, expecting more questions from you. Feel free to leave them in the chat or raise your hand. And besides, let me remind you real quick that we always post contact details of our speakers in the chat, so you can scroll up and find it all. Actually, Michael, I've posted David's credentials, so if you don't mind, you can post yours if you want to.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And
yeah, I think initially David, who's a colleague of mine, he wanted to do the pitch, and then something else came up, and so unfortunately he couldn't make it. So I
that's okay.
had to jump in, but I'm actually very happy. So I'm really happy to be here. Thank you again for this opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I got the last question to you, Michael. So if you don't mind, please answer this. So how do you see the potential of DeFi in the next year, maybe 5 years, if you say so? Yeah.
Well, I see really a lot of potential. I'm sure we'll see a lot more highly compliant, highly transparent DeFi solutions becoming available. In the end, solutions similar to what we offer, but at the moment, we're actually the only ones who offer this at this level, of compliance and at this level of transparency. So this is one development that I foresee, and another development is that we will see a lot of established institutions from traditional finance moving into DeFi or starting to offer DeFi solutions to their clients. So I personally think that in Europe, Switzerland will probably be among the first, that really starts to offer also to ordinary retail banking clients, for example, DeFi solutions. They have actually started with that already quite recently. But I think the EU or different countries in the EU, they will follow suit. So I think this will be the development. And obviously in the US, we will see something similar. So I think it's actually quite possible that we will see quite an interesting development. Obviously there are differences in regulation, there are differences in the presence of the different players in that field. But I think it will become more mainstream, and it will become, in 5 years from now, wouldn't surprise me if people will use certain types of DeFi-based solutions to the same extent as they are now using, savings account. Not everywhere in Europe, not everywhere in the US, but quite a significant portion of people.
Well, thank you so much, Michael, for sharing your thoughts. And yeah, guys, we got Michael representing Fija Finance here as a first speaker. Be sure to check the contact details if you want to, but we are moving on. Thank you so much, Michael. Wishing you best of luck, man.
Welcome. Thank you.
Okay, so our next speaker is Zippychain founder, Todd. Todd, thank you so much for connecting. Pleasure to see you here. I can't wait to hear your pitch.
So thank you, everybody. My name is Todd Blaschka. I am the founder, a co-founder and CEO of Zippychain. It is a layer one platform for DeFi and AI applications. I'll quickly walk through where we are. We have been a team that has been around, working together for nearly 3 years. We've been pretty much in stealth because this layer one is deep infrastructure. We bring a lot of experience in terms of system optimization, security, and also the ability to work on distributed systems. So when you bring those pieces together, we saw and see an opportunity, and we just came out of stealth at the start of this year. We wanted to make sure the product was up and running before we started expansion. So just to give it a sense of where we are, this has been a bootstrap project from the beginning. We are now actively, raising our initial capital. So this is the kind of stage we are, and with plans for token launch towards the end of third quarter. We're a distributed team. I'm based here in the Silicon Valley, but you can see we have team members throughout Asia and Middle East as well. I think I'm not going to spend time on this. I think most people here probably know that blockchain AI, there's a very, very good fit. The challenge that we have seen, is, in the EVM world is really the ongoing issues around performance and cost and the inability to scale. And that foundation has to get modernized in order to be able to support AI applications that require much faster transactions per second and be able to distribute out the workloads accordingly. And that is where that's what we're building. And then you'll see where it's on top, why this is a great fit for agents and these, which are just going to be they're just starting to take off, but they need to be an easy way to not only deploy an agent, but embed a smart contract and be able to then start monetizing those agents in a cost-effective way. So where we focus on is said, let's build a blockchain that is parallel EVM for the non-techies. What that just means is when you think about it, you run in parallel, you can run multiple workloads at the same time simultaneously. Deeper on the side of the tech, we also use a sharding technique, which splits the workloads across multiple nodes. This also drives down costs on the types of machines that you need, because without sharding, you have to only scale up, which means you need much more expensive hardware and RAM in order to run those operations. Because of this technique, it's a very hard thing to do. We've got the right team, we've built it, we've proven it. And when we look at where the market opportunity is and why we're so excited about what Ethereum and the market provide, is it still is the number one ecosystem. And you can see on the right the massive rise of agents, but there needs to be a easy, low-cost way to be able to embed smart contract and deploy. That is where our vision is. And when you kind of look at that, the vision here is one-click platform to launch, where then there could be the tokenization of the AI apps in Zippychain, support on-chain apps, but it all starts with the layer one itself, being able to run with an extremely low gas fee and provide the performance in order to get there. And that is what we have on the market right now. We are launching testnet in May for this. We have been focused on community building and really starting to get the awareness out over the last couple months, and the feedback has been fantastic. We have some early adopters, and let me hit on some of that examples very quickly. Here's just a quick look at the roadmap. Where we're, this next quarter, some DeFi apps are going to be initially launched and made available from Zippy. Then we go into AI enabled, and then also additional apps around AI data tagging and AI agents. And then you can see where we're expanding from there of where we are. The Zippy wallet is now available on the Android store. Soon will be available on iOS. Business model, really around chain utilization here and transactions, dApps, DeFi, AI agents, and also to be a liquidity provider. So these are some of the areas where we see the value in the business model, how for Zippy to generate revenue. One of our case studies, and really proving this out, is with an AI tagging product, which goes right into AI agent. This is a company called Alka Data, and they want to be able to expand their market for data labeling and make it a very effective way, cost-wise, to be able to not only deploy and run the app, but also a great way to be able to embed smart contracts and then also be able to have liquidity through a token swap with Zippy. So what we focus on from a go-to-market is let's get some of these things done initially and then move forward. So that is, in essence, where we are. As I mentioned, we're launching, our plan is to launch the token towards the end of third quarter. And we're at that stage right now. We're in the process of raising our initial capital. I will pause there and hand it back for questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Now is the time for Q&A. We can always expand the topic more in this section, as always happens. So yeah, guys, feel free to leave your questions in the chat or raise your hand. And yeah, we already received one. Let me read that real quick. You've got this big vision for decentralization. How do you balance making the technology accessible to developers while still ensuring top-tier performance and security?
That is always 2 points that we always work on together. Part of security has been built in, and we could go into more technical detail of how we've done that, especially when you go into sharding and splitting out workloads. Security becomes even more paramount because you're breaking apart a workload across multiple machines. We have developed the technology and the process of being able to do that to maintain the security. So when you go into decentralization, it is able to be tracked and ensure that the transactions are secure. And so happy to go in a separate meeting to go deeper and wider into the technical components of how we continue to work to achieve both of those at the same time.
Right on. Besides, I've posted all the contact details. So guys, if you're interested, feel free to go in the chat section and copy all the TG email credentials we posted. Yeah, guys, feel free to leave more questions. Besides, I have one, Todd, so if you don't mind, what kind of real world use cases, apart from those that you mentioned, are like maybe you're most excited to see emerge on Zippychain in the next maybe year or so after the launch?
What we're really excited about, where we're positioning ourselves, is all around agents, the AI agents, which are the workloads which are building. And we see two things that we kind of see as a value point. One is the existing 8,000 plus, dApps that are running on Ethereum. Here becomes a lower cost, faster engine for those apps, but all the new AI-based apps which require higher transaction per second, there's more writes being done. This is where we're really focusing, is to be able to provide where we look at providing a marketplace where someone that's building an AI agent can come to Zippy quickly, within one click, embed smart contract, then they can start monetizing their app right away. And then as we move to support on-chain across other chains, that's going to also provide more utilization in customer experience, because it's not just locked in on the Zippy ecosystem. And that's part of the overall philosophy that we have, is start with Zippy, but then we want to be able to move on, cross-chain down the road. So and if it makes sense, where it makes the most sense, and where the customers and developers help drive us.
I see, thanks. And what about the competition, by the way? Are there any competitors in this field?
There is competition out there. There's not there's when you look at it, from the infrastructure standpoint, there are some competitors out there. It really becomes digging deep into the differentiation, especially on the technology, on the performance, and how to operate it. And those are a couple areas we believe the sharding technology and technique is a much more compelling advantage than some other competitors that are promoting a parallel EVM. When we apply sharding as a technique, it really provides, when you're building out the nodes, you can really work on lower cost machines rather than scale vertically, which is much more expensive in those areas. So we see that there's competition, there's going to be, but the feedback we're getting from the early adopters we've been working with have been very positive on the experience. But secondly, part of our differentiation is focusing on DeFi AI, and the applications really to get there. But you need that layer one infrastructure in order to support the requirements of where the AI apps and the AI agents are going. I mean, could be $1 trillion market opportunity with the number of apps out there, but how do you make it easy for someone that's building something to embed smart contract and deploy? That is really where we're focusing on to go to market.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you so much for answering my questions. We got two more, but actually the first one is pretty similar to my previous, so I'm gonna skip that. The next one goes like this. You've got tons of experience scaling startups. What do you think will be the biggest challenge in scaling Zippychain, and how do you plan to tackle it? And just out of curiosity.
I think about that all the time. One of the biggest challenges here is really building out the community, and the engagement with the community. There is a strong value prop for developers to come and experience it, and we really need to have that experience. With my experience on multiple other infrastructure startups, the experience is paramount. That's why we spend a lot of time building it to make sure it works before we really start making noise about the product. Because if a developer comes and they don't experience the speed and performance that they're expecting, you lose credibility right away. And so secondly is partnerships in the ecosystem. And so we're investing significantly in the partner ecosystem, where we are working with partners that can also help us partner with many more protocols to help bring to Zippy. So really, it's getting those initial customers out there and help telling the story. that is the first part to be able to start scaling out, is getting those first couple experiences. And that's where we are. That's why we started with, for example, I shared an example with Alcadata, one of our MVPs, is getting out there with a proven story. Then we get a couple more. We plan to further focus on the community ecosystem with, not only with the testnet that we'll be launching in May, but also hackathons and through partnerships, across that have access to other protocols that we help bring in. So that, to me, and to the team, is the critical part, is the community and the partnership to come experience Zippy. But we want to make sure Zippy would deliver on its promise up front on the experience. So there's no specific, I wish I could say it's a repeatable playbook, but there's general things I have learned, and user experience is paramount, that the product does do what it says it does. And then you start from there. So partnerships are huge. Anybody here that's, involved, wants to talk, love to have a conversation, because now is really where we're building that momentum for our launch.
Yeah, totally agree. Thank you so much for answering this question. And by the way, could you tell us a bit more about the team? I missed that in the presentation. So could you elaborate on that?
Absolutely. So we have, our chief product officer is a gentleman by the name of Sam. He's based out of Hong Kong. His background's all around system optimizations. So this really ties into performance. Our CTO, Matt, is also based here in Silicon Valley with me. His background has a PhD in security. He has worked with Google, amongst with other very deep technical companies. Matt and I have actually worked together in a previous life on distributed computing. That's kind of where we started. And what he brings also is the strong security aspect with his PhD that applies into what we do. And then we also, on our finance treasury, we have Ed, and then we have our CMO, Linton, and they all have had strong experience in the blockchain space. Combined, there's over 70 patents that have been filed over the period of time. So there's deep bench of experience. And then we kind of pulled ourselves together to focus on this gap in the market in terms of fast and lower cost compute that can support AI apps.
Yeah, right on. Thank you for answering this question. I think it's time for us to conclude this. Thank you so much, Todd, for being here on the call. It's a pleasure hearing you out. It was a nice talk, man. Thank you so much. Okay, guys. So surprisingly, we got a third speaker today joining us here. It was a last-minute addition, but still, hopefully, we still had time to hear him out. So we got a Digipharm CEO. Sorry for pronouncing that correct. Maybe I pronounced that wrong, but yeah, Digipharm CEO Ahmed joining us. So yeah, thank you so much, Ahmed, for connecting. Glad you made it finally. And yeah, passing the mic to you, man.
Good afternoon or morning, everyone, wherever you are. So first of all, hi everyone. My name is Ahmed Al-Maqtari. I'm the CEO of Digipharm. We are a company that's based and headquartered in the UK with entities in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and Basel, Switzerland. And our whole focus is really to help healthcare systems save money and improve. You probably hear, every few weeks, if you're outside of healthcare, but every day when you're in healthcare, you hear it is where money is tight and budgets are not enough and care is always compromised. And a lot of this is driven by inefficient procurement. $300 billion a year is wasted by healthcare organizations on things that don't necessarily provide value or benefits to the end user or to the health system. And a big reason for that is a volume-based or fee-for-service approach to payments. That essentially means you're paying for every single dose of a drug, every single tablet, every single interaction with the health system, no matter what the outcome is. So you can go for a treatment at a hospital, they could make you worse rather than better, and you still have to pay full price. So that's a massive issue. Fortunately, there is a solution in the form of value-based healthcare. Value-based healthcare and value-based procurement in healthcare essentially means paying for medicines, medical devices, and services only when they actually provide benefits to the patient. And because this is decided by health data, we've then created a platform to enable organizations to transact in this way. We help them get the best deals by only paying for what works in pharmaceuticals, medical devices, robotics, service contracts as well. We use smart contracting to eliminate the administrative burden of doing so, and we provide a neutral and independent platform for them to transact. So as an example, we'd sit between a hospital and a pharmaceutical company and run a contract for a cancer drug that costs $10,000 per month per patient. In addition to that core platform, we have released a platform recently called Tsunami. We named it that because it's going to generate a massive wave of savings and improvement in the healthcare system. And that really focuses on creating savings from waste, as well as improving, treatment selection and just continuously optimizing healthcare system spending. In addition to that, we also have our DigiHealth patient ecosystem. So when you're paying for healthcare based on how well it works, a lot of that feedback is provided by the patients, and that's where we utilize our digital currency as an incentivization mechanism. And in addition to that, we're now actually growing some of the features on this application to be a personal medical record, enable patients to have access to their healthcare professionals, and really be a one-stop healthcare application that uses crypto as a growth engine. I don't think there is a leader yet for that globally, beyond Apple and Samsung Health, and those are very limited. So there's still a massive opportunity there that we're looking to take advantage of. The market is massive. I mean, looking at the MENA region alone, where we've been doing quite a bit of work recently, you're looking at $3 billion a year of an addressable market. We have two main revenue streams: the licensing model, a gain share model, where we take a percentage of the savings we generate for healthcare organizations, as well as obviously having some additional revenue streams on the crypto side and things like that. I think we are unique that we are fully dedicated to transforming how healthcare systems spend using, sophisticated end-to-end, technological solutions. We have a strong team who has a vast experience across the healthcare and technology industry. We've only raised $300,000 pre-seed, and we've received funding from the European Union and the Welsh government. We have US and EU patents. We've validated our solutions with some of the largest healthcare organizations in the world. And recently we've been given a tenancy at KAUST University, which gives us access to the most powerful supercomputer in the Middle East to build out some of our...
Okay, if you finished, thank you so much for the pitch part. Now to Q&A. As always, guys, feel free to leave your questions in the chat or raise your hand. And yeah, we've already received a couple of questions. Let me read those. First goes like this. Your move to burn program sounds unique. Can you explain how it works and why you think it could catch on with users in the long run?
Yeah, essentially what it means is that patients who are part of the DigiHealth ecosystem, so DigiHealth is our whole patient ecosystem, but it's also now going to be a retail ecosystem. Essentially, it's a tool to encourage populations to behave in a much healthier way. And instead of giving, patients or users a reward in crypto for doing exercise like Sweatcoin or things like this, for us, there's an initiative where, based on, for example, the miles they'll run or the activity they do, that it actually had been like it'll essentially set up a burn mechanism on some of our tokens within our ecosystem. It's really just to encourage a healthier population and change it up and gamify a lot of these things. There are certain areas where we will provide rewards, directly in tokens, but we're also going to give them the opportunity to help us increase, the value of remaining tokens that way, and do it in a way that encourages people to be healthy.
Thank you. Another one goes like this. As someone who's always looking for innovative solutions, I have to ask, what's the craziest out-of-the-box idea that didn't make the cut but could have changed the game?
I think that is... Well, there was one, to be honest, that I think we did want to do, and we probably might get to later. It's just like have a real a real-time health information exchange from like all different healthcare organizations around the world, patients and things like this. But the fact is, when we actually started to think about designing it and doing it and making it a reality, the costs were just been too insane. So now we do have these databases and these registries where we'll collect data and monetize it for patients. But it's not going to be in near real time. It's going to be updated when patients want to update it and things like that. Hopefully in the future, once there are solutions that make information governance a bit more seamless and privacy and things like that, and healthcare organizations no longer move like I don't offend anyone, but like dinosaurs or something like this, really slow and take their time to do things, and then that could possibly work in the future.
Yeah, I agree. That'll be a cool feature to see. Totally. We got a third question. How do you envision DigiHealth a role in transforming the way people think about their health data? Could this be the start of a new wave where data ownership becomes the norm for individuals?
I hope it's part of it. I don't think DigiHealth alone or Digipharm alone will do it. But I think this is where we can utilize a growth engine like crypto to help this actually become a reality. I think what separates us from other organizations is I know who will pay a lot of money for this data, and a lot of people don't, because I've bought it myself. I've paid around $250,000 just for data from 1,000 patients. Okay, and this data was very little, and I knew that this data was also being sold to 20, 30 other companies, and no one else was getting that money. So we know the channels where this is being sold and bought. We know the actual type of data is valuable. So my background is as a health economist. I use this data for very valuable models that then pharma companies use to actually base their whole commercialization strategies upon. So I think as long as we're able to get that across and show people that they're going to be earning a lot of real money from it, as well as actually shaping what healthcare technologies are going to be used, because when we're talking about this value-based model, which is like performance-based payments for like drugs, it's actually being done right now. We're running some of these contracts right now. In some cases, you have up to 100% refund on the cost of a drug. So it's massive for organizations, and some of this will trickle down to patients.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you for answering the latter question. I also have one. So, Ahmed, could you tell us how you see the project in the next 5 years? So, what's the ideal scenario here?
In the next I'd say in the next 12 to 18 months, we want to be very well established in some of the key markets we're working in. So obviously we've been working in the UK for a long time. We've been working with the National Health Service in the UK for about 4 years. We started our first project with some Saudi government entities around a year ago. So now we're being established. We've recently got an outstanding startup award from the health insurance regulator there. We're obviously part of that university now, which gives us access to some amazing AI capable supercomputers. We've got some stuff in the UAE, other regions in the Middle East. I think we want to start, we want to have a big market share and actually onboard a lot of people, especially from the patient side. The B2B side, I think that's already in motion, but I think empowering people and actually letting them have, some sort of financial benefit, and not just financial as well. I think it's a psychological win to feel like, they're not being screwed by health systems. I think sometimes people can feel like that. They pay a lot of money and they don't get appointments, or they, whether it's via taxes or by insurance, and they're not getting the best care and stuff like that. I think there's an opportunity to change that. So that's why we're here.
Are there any plans to cover Europe and the US?
US, not right now. Yes, somewhere. I mean, we have an office in Switzerland. We do work from there for specific places, but we've seen that the exciting markets are those like the Middle East, some places in Asia. Africa's slow, but it's a blank canvas. So we've had to kind of pick and choose. In Europe and things like that, you have too much legacy systems and bureaucracy and things like this. And for us as a business, we can always come back to that, because I know that in 2-3 years they're going to be in the same situation as they are now. Whereas in some of these other places, the transformative opportunities are too big to miss out right now.
Yeah, totally, man. That's all time we have for the Q&A part. Thank you, Ahmed, for sharing this amazing project with us. It's been a pleasure to hear you out. And yeah, best of luck, man. And
Appreciate it. Thank you.
yeah, that concludes today's meeting. We got 3 speakers today, and all the projects were amazing. So you can find all the contact details there in the chat. Also, let me share real quick the form for participation that you can obviously fill in and be our next guest in our call. So there's also a feedback form for you, so you can also fill it. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. See you next time. Have a great weekend, by the way.
Thank you. Take care.